Hi everybody, it's me GhostCritic and it's Friday, which can only mean one thing. Yes, I got my hair cut. No, that's not it. Of course, I've read my comic books, I've had a think about them, and here are my thoughts on the comics I pulled on Wednesday. If you've seen my Wednesday pull list video, you will already know what I picked up and hopefully be eager to know what I thought about them. Now, I'm going to try, and I haven't done this for a long time, so there's going to be lots of ums and arms, I'm sure, but I'm going to do this in one take. There is going to be no cuts, which means this video is definitely going to be under 30 minutes because my camera decides I've talked enough after half an hour and turns itself off. So let's crack on. It's not often that when I pick up an image number one, I am not at least slightly enthused about it. Maybe saying that this is the new hot book to buy, but with Ray Fawkes' Intersect issue 1 from Image. Oh, good Lord. I understand what it's trying to do here. We have this kind of very dream-like state, punctuated with this vocabulary that's kind of bitty and jumpy. The artwork is very kind of fluid and rough and kind of flowy like a dream. And it's just that step too far in the kind of experimental phase. Let's put it this way, I won't be picking up issue 1. Maybe, you know, someone finds something in this. Maybe it's an art style that only, you know, fully fledged art historians or someone of that ilk could appreciate. I mean, I'm all for different kind of art styles. I don't need it always to be the kind of bright, flashy, very clean cut superhero-esque art style. Not at all. But this is just, it just feels bad. And I don't like saying that. Maybe I'm just not appreciative enough of the style, but no, I won't be picking up issue 2. Moving on to Batman Eternal, issue 33. And this is a pretty pedestrian kind of issue for Batman Eternal where not a great deal happens. I can't imagine anyone talking that long about this. Basically the premise is, obviously the last issue, Hush exploded one of Bruce Wayne's kind of underground weapon bunkers. And this is just him and Penny 2, Julia. She is going out into the field with Batman to kind of disarm all the rest of the bunkers before Hush explodes all the rest. And of course, a little bit of a spoiler, maybe not, it's not a big thing, but the last page, Hush meets Penny 2. It was just that was it. There was nothing kind of deep or kind of poignant or something that foreshadowing a future that I could see. It just, like I say, it was another pretty average comic of Batman Eternal. Very pedestrian, nothing exciting really about this issue. Eek. Morning Glories issue, where are we up to? 42. As always, it's very difficult if you've not been reading this to even start explaining it. I say that with every single issue, but it's the truth. However, I do feel like the actual characters in the comics don't know what the hell is going on now. In this issue, from the last issue, Jade was kidnapped by a couple of the other students as a sacrifice to hopefully bring back one of the characters that they killed earlier on in this series. Unfortunately, Casey thinks it's the head teachers that have taken her away and imprisoned her in the underground cells again, but it's clearly not. No one knows where she is. it's just as confusing for the characters as it is for me, the reader. It is still a lot of fun though, and I do enjoy reading the back pages, which kind of points at things that you should be looking at, and you know, it's like, oh, this character said this, remember what happened in issue, I don't know, 4 or 5, something like that. And it is so well kind of connected to past story arcs, and it is one of those books that if you are reading it, you have to kind of keep going backwards and forwards with other issues to get the full bigger picture. It's a lot of work for a comic book, really, but I've stuck with it this far. I do enjoy reading it, as crazy and as confusing as it is, and I will be with it till its inevitable end, whenever that will be. New issue of Grant Morrison's The Multiversity, Pax Americana. This is one of those books where it takes at least a few reads to fully appreciate what is kind of going on and to actually understand the intricacies that Grant Morrison is putting down on this series. Pax Americana is set in Earth 4, commonly known as the Charlton Comics world. These are all the characters that were bought up by DC when Charlton Comics went under, so the likes of the Blue Beetle, the Question, and of course because of its kind of comparisons with the Watchmen, you do get that kind of Alan Moore Watchmen-esque feel to it. There's probably a lot more going on in here that, you know, I'm not quite grasping because I don't have that full kind of DC and Charlton Comics history. But I enjoyed this story. It's very much about a superhero that's fallen on bad times to the point where he, for some reason, has killed the President of the United States. And we have all these kind of Watchmen-esque characters doing very kind of out of the ordinary, maybe out of character type of things. For me, the highlight of this was Frank Quietly's work, and it was interesting as I was reading through this, the kind of not forwardness, but how Frank Quietly's artwork has progressed since I first kind of discovered him. Not that I discovered him, but I do remember the point where he was doing New X-Men, again with Grant Morrison, and I loved his artwork there. But in here it seems a lot more polished than past series that I've seen him on, which is a good thing. He's progressed greatly with his art style. Whether this is purely for this kind of comic and this style that he's kind of polished it up a little bit, but it's just beautiful nonetheless. We move on to Astro City issue 17 from Vertigo Comics. This is a done-in-one, and a done-in-one done very well. We have another kind of, who are they? The Honor Guard. Story about a superhero sacrificing his life and someone who feels responsible for it and wants to kind of be punished in some respects for what they did. We have this huge alien terrorizing planet after planet, cutting a swathe of bloody bodies in his wake, and it was just a great kind of story about alien invasions in some respects, and this superhero character that was truly heroic. He was willing to put his life on the line to save millions, billions more. A very kind of sweet ending to this. I'd like these done-in-ones. Kurt Busiek really excels at these, and I appreciate these kind of stories much more than his longer story arcs. He just has that knack of encapsulating a story within just kind of like 24, 26 pages. He gives you a start, he gives you a middle, and he gives you a satisfying end. So I really enjoyed it. Issue 2 of Goners out this week, and I had a lot of fun with this. Last issue we saw the death of father and mother, kind of supernatural demon taking out team, and the kind of repercussions of that for their children. And it seems anyone with the name Latimer is in danger. We see scenes from all over the world of, you know, bloody messes everywhere. It's that whole kind of demon supernatural vibe to it. The artwork might not be to everyone's taste. It's very what I call comic booky. If you're kind of fans of people like Delgado, what's his name, Humberto Ramos, that kind of art style, then you will love Goners. It's very action packed, lots of kind of fun quips going on there. There's, like I said in my Wednesday video, it's kind of a horror comic, but at the same time it's got a lightness to it. They like I said, they have the kind of funny humour running through it too. I really enjoyed it. It was one of those comics where I just want to sit and be entertained. I don't want to think too hard about it. I don't want to have to put any more work into it, but turn the page and read and look at what's put in front of me. So if that's the kind of comic you're looking for, then Goners is well worth a try. As with all Image comics, you never know how long they're going to last. Whether these are kind of like mini-series or ongoing series, but I think that helps Image in some respects. It's kind of like that litmus paper test, see how well they probably have, like only a set amount of issues in the back of the mind that we have to tell this story in. If it does well, then we know we've got more behind us to progress this story on. And I like that kind of working ethos that Image seems to have created for themselves. On to another new Image #1, and another really fun book and entertaining. It's Synergy by Michael Avon Oeming. If you're a fan of Powers, if you're a fan of the Mouse Templar, then this book will probably be right up your street. Basically, losing your virginity, ladies, will probably give you superpowers. Not quite superpowers, but our main female character in here loses her virginity to her boyfriend, and suddenly she can see the demonic of the world around her, and unfortunately her boyfriend seems to be a demon. The twist therein. Her father has been waiting for this moment. Kind of creepy, but still. Yes, her father's this kind of demon hunter. We have these demons living with us in the world, and they are feeding the synergy off us. And it's the cool thing about this was, and people might not like Oeming's art, but I thought it was really good. But there's scenes in the back where we find out what happened to the boyfriend as he kind of like made his escape, as the father kind of barged in on them just after they'd had sex, and we find out more about him. But it was the way that Oeming had done like the panel work where there were kind of blocks over his body just showing his kind of like demonic parts, and I just thought that was really clever use of showing the reader, you know, the kind of the demon side of him. And it was, like I said, again another fun entertaining book. I think I'm going to keep trying with this, give the second issue at least a go. As said, I love Powers, love Mouse Templar, love Oeming. Penultimate book this week, Rick Remender's Deadly Class, issue 9. The cover is a little bit misleading. You think Marcus is in for a bit of a rough time, but this is another of Remender's kind of setting things up for probably the culmination of this story arc. Some people might have found these more slow issues a little bit frustrating. However, they do build and enrich on the universe that Remender is kind of building here. We find more about the origin of Maria and how she came to be one of these student assassins. Her family having been wiped out for, well, basically stealing to survive. We have, I can't remember the name of the other girl, but the one that obviously fancies Marcus, kind of furtherly enticing him away from Maria, and Marcus really isn't putting up much of a fight. Also in this issue you have kind of Marcus building his team to get to, pardon my French here, but this is his name, to get closer to Fuckface, who killed Maria's ex-boyfriend in the last story arc, and why she is kind of like being so depressive and out of sorts lately. And just another great issue of Deadly Class, one of my favourite series of this year. It looks like next issue will be kind of a bit more dramatic, a bit more action-packed for those who have missed that. Finally, it's Fables issue 146. I know a lot of people kind of skip this part of my video because they're playing catch up with the trades and trying to collect the single issues, so bye-bye to them. But if you just want to know what's going on in Fables, or if you're reading it and catching up there with me in the present, this last story arc has proven incredibly surprising. It's, as I've said in previous videos about this final story arc, it never even dawned on me until this story that, given that the kind of the big evil, God, what's his name? Geppetto. God, what's his name? What did they call him? Well, the big bad who'd taken over the Fables land. Now he'd been like defeated, and this is going back years. There really was no reason for them now to be kind of exiled in our world, and they could have gone back. And it just never occurred to me that that was an option, or was even worthwhile addressing, them having made a home for themselves in our world. But it just makes sense. You know, the fight is over. They've defeated all the bad men. There's no reason for them to go home. And the word home is very much part of this final story arc. Strangely enough, well, not strangely enough, conveniently enough, called Happily Ever After. Though obviously there are a lot of characters that are dying. But we will see by the end, February, for more issues, how this whole fabulous, magical series will end. The kind of shocker moment here, I didn't think this would happen so soon, but Rose Red has figured out who has been controlling Bigby. It was Leah, the Mrs. Spratt, in her new kind of sexy body, and Rose Red, well, there's a finale to that storyline for Mrs. Spratt, unfortunately, but it's what Rose Red will now do with that last little piece of crystal that is controlling Bigby Wolf, which was the most surprising. What will Rose Red do? Very excited for this final story arc. Definitely, if you haven't read Fables, and why would you not? It's just been such a beautiful book. Go back, just pick them up in trade. Don't worry about the singles. Just get some nice trades run going, and just immerse yourself in the Fables universe. The story arcs have always been so strong. There's not a bad one I can think of. It's just a great book. It'd be sad to see it go. And that's it. See, I told you. under half an hour. Thank you for watching till now. If this is your first time here and you just like this video, so hit the subscribe button. That means you won't miss out on any more, and they'll pop up in your feed every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and let me know if you read any of those comics. What were your thoughts on them? Did you struggle with Intersect as much as I did? Were you disappointed with Batman Eternal this week? Oh, as for the other number ones that came out, let me know what you thought of them. Until next week, when there'll be more of my thoughts and opinions on comic books, I will see you then. Have a great weekend, enjoy your comics, and I'll see you. Bye bye.